So this is my 2007 Ford Ranger. It's got no rust. It was never garaged, and it's been exposed to Connecticut winters. I haven't plowed with the thing for about 6 or 7 years. And what I did for undercoating was I had it sprayed with hot roof. They wouldn't tell me what it was, but basically it's roofing tar. I used to tar foundations for work, and it's the same stuff. It's pretty darn close if it's not. I know they say it's bad to do that. Bad to do that if you have rust. You don't really want to go over rust with that. I did a little bit on this, but there wasn't much rust on this when I had it done. So what I recommend for me personally, what I do, or what I would do, I'd do it again. I would have it, especially if you have a vehicle that's brand new, I would have it sprayed with roofing tar thoroughly. I mean, not just the frame, not just the outside of the frame, inside the frame rail, outside the frame rail, up underneath the body here. I had all that done right out to the lip here. I don't know where you can see that because I'm not underneath right now. These Rangers, they actually undercoated underneath the paint. It looks like they sprayed something kind of thick on here up to about here, all the way down. And I had an older Ranger that my dad bought new, and it didn't have that, and it started rusting when it was like 8 years old. So this thing being about 14 years old, never garaged, I didn't always take the best care of it, but it's held up really well. It waxes up really nice, almost like new. Some people, I just put that cap on. I did some videos on that. Some people recently that were doing some work in the cap for me, they asked me if I had the whole truck painted. I was like, no, that's original, but it doesn't look new. I mean, I could tell it's got some like swirl scratches and stuff in it, but it looks really good. I don't know how well it looks in the video, but yeah, anyway, that's what I do for undercoating. Well, I do that once, only once, or I would do it again only once. If you keep doing it, you go over rust with roofing tar or with rubberized undercoating, it flakes off. You get rust underneath, and it kind of holds moisture and salt and chemicals from the road in between the steel and the rubberized undercoating or roofing tar, and that's when you get the vehicle rusting out really bad really quick. So after that, what I do is every year I spray underneath wherever I see some rust popping through, which is usually, you want to look at all the joints. Like, I'll crawl underneath real quick. Like wherever there's metal like bolted together, like here, or this right here for the brake, the emergency brake. This right here, the what do you call that? I know the name, the cab mount. Stuff like that you want to look for. You do not want to spray your mechanical stuff except for the rear diff. I did that, or I had that done. I really haven't had to do much with wool wax on that because the rubberized undercoating held up really well. The straps for the gas tank's plastic, so you don't have to bother with that unless you have an older vehicle with a metal gas tank, then I would. And yeah, basically I recommend, like, just when you rubberize undercoat it, get like all the way down to the edge as much as you can and completely seal this off if there's no rust. If there's rust, you really want to get that off. If you can't get the rust off within reason, I mean, obviously you don't want to spend like forever on this, I get it. Then I would keep up spraying with something like wool wax underneath there. The reason why I say wool wax, looking at the reviews on stuff, fluid film is pretty decent, but wool wax seems to cling a little better, and you can get wool wax in black. I don't think fluid film they sell in black. They might, but last I knew they didn't. It was just like a clear yellowish color. And they have that in wool wax too, which you could use inside your doors. Now, inside my doors, so before I go there, looks pretty good for being as old as it is. So yeah, like in here, wherever there's like a surface like inside like that, I'll spray that with wool wax every year. And like I said, any like joints up here I would have, but I haven't seen any rust right here, so I didn't bother with that one. Over there I did a little bit on the strap there. I did. Oh, and on these Ford Rangers, and probably a lot of trucks, I don't know how a lot of trucks are made like suspension-wise these days, but on the Rangers, the rear leaf spring mounts, like that one right there, and even more so the ones all the way in the back, out pretty close to the bumper, those tend to rot out. Also the cab mounts, not so much, this is a regular cab. The cab mounts on a super cab tend to rot out in the back. The regular cabs I don't think so much, but also this right here, because this kind of hangs down and it kind of collects stuff, so I want to make sure that I get that coated. I did all the way out all over here, even though this was painted and you can see it a little bit from outside, but I don't really care. I'd rather have it protected, and I did the back over here. So yeah, that's what I do with that. Inside the doors, what I did was I took the door panels off and I actually made a mixture of my own, but wool wax you could use. I would use the clear wool wax because some of it's going to ooze out and it's going to make a mess. So if you do clear, it'll make less noticeable of a mess. So great, I locked my keys in. I gotta get the spare key. Yeah, I don't have a remote to open the door. It's simple, it's old school, I like it. What I did was I took the door panels off. There's some screws, they pop off. I did another video on that where I refinished the door panels. I posted it on Scotty Kilmer's website if that's how you found this video. Or you can look on my YouTube page. But yeah, I took those off. I made this mixture basically of a bunch of different oils, like WD-40, silicone oil, I think bar and chain oil. I think it was called Z-Max. It's supposed to cling to metal. A whole bunch of stuff like that, mixed it up. I think I even put a little bit of rubberized undercoating in there to thicken it up a bit. And I sprayed, because my window crank, I have manual windows, they were squeaking like crazy. I sprayed that on there, and the first time I did it was maybe like 3 years ago, and for like 3 years the squeak was completely gone, and that was there for years. And then I noticed it doing a little bit this year, but not as bad as it was before, so I sprayed it all up inside there again, and they're like new again. It tends to last a while. I think it's because I made that stuff kind of, it's like oily, but it sprays on and it kind of dries up, kind of like tar a little bit, but a little bit more oily than tar. And so the mechanism and everything is like rust prevented with that, and it's like oiled, and it like stays oiled because it like clings to it. And it also I let it drip down to the bottom of the door, which will protect that. Now the problem on these Fords, a lot of them, at least on these older Rangers, isn't on the bottom of the door so much inside, but on the very bottom, this lip right here on the inside, which you can't see, and I don't have my keys on me, and I don't want to make the video super long, so I'll spare that. What I did, because I do have a little bit of rust starting all along here from like maybe here to about here, a little bit. I tried to spray some of that stuff, that mixture that I made, like in there, and let it kind of seep into there. And then I went over it with a bunch of grease, and I wiped the excess off, and it really doesn't, you really don't even notice unless you like crawl down and look underneath the door, you know. But yeah, there's been rust under there for probably 5 years now, so but it hasn't gotten much worse. I guess I could like scrape it off and repaint it, but I figure it's behind, because this shell right here, this bends over. There's a seam where this bends over underneath here onto the inside of the door, and I think Toyota and probably other car manufacturers, they put like a seam sealer there, so it's not metal to metal. But Ford didn't do that. They just went metal to metal with the seam, and so yeah, there's rust starting here. But again, I mean, it's 14 years old. It's really not that bad. So yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do for undercoating. I did inside the tailgate too. I dropped the spare tire in the back, and I do notice a little bit of rust on that every year, so I try to do that every year. If not drop it, at least like go up in there, like spray. Like I have a wand with the kit that I bought from Wool Wax, because I got a bunch of cans with in a kit with a they call it a wand. It's like two or 2.5 feet long about, and you can feed it up inside the frame rails and all that. I'll feed it up inside the spare tire rim and spray up in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, I notice these tend to freeze up, so I've been trying to remember what I did last time. Worked really good. Oh, I did some wool wax, some of the clear wool wax, and well, first because they were frozen up, I figured there was water in there. I sprayed silicone spray oil in there to try to push water out, and then I put clear wool wax in there, and worked really good. And so far, so good. It's been cold out, and they haven't frozen up yet, so I'll see how that goes.